We are Group 3 and we are assigned to discuss about the directed methods of teaching arts. But before that, I just want to give you a short motivation. Are you familiar with the word role model? No? I think most of you know. Role model is a person who inspires and encourages us to strive for greatness, live to our fullest potential, and see the best in ourselves. A role model is someone we admire and someone we aspire to be like. Do you have that someone you aspire to be like? No, it could be your teacher, it could be your mother or your father or a friend, no, or it could be an artist. Then we learn through them, through their commitment to excellence and through their ability to make us realize our own growth. No, so we look to them for advice and guidance. That's the role model. So as a future educator, as a future teacher, so we have to be a good role model to our future students, right? So as early as now, so we have to develop characteristics and attitudes that are worth following. We have to examine ourselves. What are those characteristics and attitudes that are not worth following? So we have to eliminate and remove those. As a preparation, role model is not just a teacher, but it can be anybody. It can be a parent, it can be a sibling, a friend, but the most influential and the life-changing role model are the teachers. So we influence lives and we change lives, and that is very important. That's why we cannot change lives and we cannot transform other lives when we do not change ourselves first. So we have to practice. So as early as now, we have to make an impact to the people around us. No, have you ever asked yourselves, am I a good role model? Am I a good role model to my siblings, to my friends, and to the people around me? Now you have to ask that question. If you have that doubt, so you have to start improving. We have to start improving ourselves as a preparation. So God bless us, future educator, and we'll continue to make an impact to the world. That's all. So let's now proceed to the discussion. So we'll talk about the directed methods of teaching. Direct instruction, or the direct method, was first developed in the 1960s by Siegfried Engelmann and Wesley Vickers. The purpose of the teaching method was to help the disadvantaged public schools. Then the direct teaching method was espoused by Madeline Chick Hunter, an American educator who created the instructional theory into practice. The procedure is systematic and grounded on sound teaching and learning principles. What is direct instruction? So, direct instruction is a specific model of instruction within the large or more generic category of teacher-directed instruction, which is a highly structured to break down skills into specific components and teach them in a controlled and scripted sequence. So, in a direct instruction, the teacher is at the center of the instruction. So it could be the formal authority or the expert or a personal model. So when we say formal authority, the teachers are in a position of power and authority because of their exemplary knowledge and status of their students So classroom management styles are traditional and focused on rules and expectations. So when we say experts, so the teachers are in possession of all knowledge and expertise within the classroom. So their primary role is to guide and direct the learners through the learning process. The students are viewed solely as the receptors of knowledge and information. So they are the empty vessels. When we say the personal model, the teachers who operate under the personal model style are those who lead by example. So demonstrating to the students how to access or comprehend information. In this teaching model, the students learn through observing and copying the teacher's process. What are the characteristics of direct instruction? So first, the teacher directed and the teacher dominated. Second is the teacher teaching with skill, the students gain how rather than what. It is a procedural knowledge. Each step must be mastered. No? Then next is it's a step-by-step procedure with no step missed. Dapat it could be complete. Then next is the lesson objectives, easily observe behaviors that can be measured accurately. The level of the performance can be accessed from the number of steps performed correctly. Next is form of learning through. It is a form of learning through imitation or a behavioral modeling.
Here are the examples of instructional methods or strategies. According to Ekman et al. 2006, suggested 4 different models of instructional or strategies. As first is didactic. It is a direct verbal teaching in the form of lecture and presentation. Second one is modeling. It is a direct visual teaching in the form of demonstration and practices. Third is managerial. It is an indirect teaching that promoted the individual and group projects. Last is dialogic. It is an indirect teaching that employs the Socratic technique of dialogue. According to Petrina 2007, a different lens though with a similar spirit classify the methods and strategies onto 3. First is transmissive. It is a direct instruction in the form of lecture and presentation. And the second one is transactive. Means it is an indirect instruction, though it's a form of dialogue. The third one is transformative. It is a blend of both direct and indirect teaching. According to O'Bannon 2002, Radar classifies the instructional methods and strategies in the 2 main groups. First is teacher-centered approach and learner-centered approach. Teacher-centered approach, it means heighten the teacher's role over the learners, while learner-centered approach, it is intensify the learner's activities while the teachers act as a guide. Here are the first examples of instructional methods or the direct teaching. First is the presentation or lecture. In this method, factual material is presented to the students in logical, direct manner according to Keslick 2016. It is a one-way instruction method controlled solely by the tutor with no immediate response from the learners. Other sources apart from the tutor can be textbook, audio tape, and videotape, and etc. Second example of direct teaching or the direct instruction. It is the demonstration. According to Safru 2007, describes these methods of instructional as involving the viewing of real or lifelike example executed by the tutor or the learner. Mostly, it is a showmanship of the particular skills or technique in the execution of particular activity. Learners observe the behavior or skill and demonstrated by the tutor or her or his colleague student and mimics it exactly. Sometimes the demonstrated can be or demonstrated activity can be carried out by media such as videos, slide share, or PPT on MS Word. Third example of direct teaching or the direct instructional, this is the discussion. This instructional method is a two-way instruction method often viewed as an exchange of ideas between the tutor and the students or between the students. It is an efficient way of assessing knowledge, skills, and attitudes of a group of students. These assessments can be freely carried out before, during, and after the lesson. This instructional method is used after the presentation or lecture by the tutor or media or assist learners in grasping and understanding the content presented.
Cooperative learning is beneficial to students because students have a responsibility to the group and to themselves. It encourages positive student interactions, and students also gain practice in using social and collaborative skills. Simulation offers a chance to experience real-life scenarios that depict true events. It is a cheaper, faster, and efficient way for practice and learning that helps people understand how they should act in real-life scenarios or situations. There are three phases of discovery teaching method. First is the formulating questions and initial understandings. First, students are oriented to a problem or phenomena on a goal. Second is exploration and analysis. The third one is drawing conclusions. One reason that problem solving is important in child development is that it teaches discernment, helping young people distinguish what is a solvable problem. And problem solving also develops a trait that successful students routinely display. Role playing is an effective way for children to make sense of the world around them. Children learn to empathize with others, and taking part in a role play activity would usually mean that you are taking on the role of character, which will teach children about the empathy and understanding of different perspectives.
The advantages of directed teaching. The structure of direct teaching can be rigid enough to hinder the creativity of the teacher. Direct teaching, if utilized by an unprepared teachers, can be discouraged for direct teaching or instructed to be effective. The teacher must have a mastery of the subject matter, must well prepared or organized content, and must have excellent communication skills. Directed teaching is the best learning to specific concept or skills. The efficiency of the objective of learning target also make it easier for teacher to create assessment tests or high validity and high reliability. Students, for their part, do not suffer much confusion in determining which part of learn lesson important, which part is not. Directed teaching is also can drawings increase the listening skills of student. They must listen and keep up with the teacher as they draw each part. In addition to the listening, the after obvious benefit is learning to follow directions.
In this session, participants follow a vocal music as teachers, as she takes on different rules in order to encourage students to find creative solutions to artistic challenges. So, in this picture, it shows that the teacher teaching his participants on how to deal challenges that they might encounter as they play their music instrument, and also it shows that his participants must know all the instruments for them to cope with any problem when they play their music. So next, an acting teacher becomes a facilitator as his students report on research about theater history. So in this picture, shows that the teacher facilitates her students as they tackle the history of theater. The teacher ensures that her students have a right knowledge of the result of the researchers or the information they've gathered about the theater history. Then, a visual art teacher guides her students in a drawing assignment, varying her approach based on the students' individual needs. For this picture, it shows that a teacher guiding his students to a drawing assignment. The teacher helped him to draw perfectly and teach him to draw step by step. And then the last, finally, students' teachers engage students' critical analysis of a painting as a way to encourage expression with words as well as movement. So in this last picture, it shows that these two teachers engaging them students to dance while analyzing the painting for them to know that painting is not only about how you paint but also it involves movements. It will help the students to be more creative on their art they want to do and make it beautiful as they want to.